Hello, hi everyone, and I'm Dr. Sandeep Diwan, and I'm a consulting anesthetist and head research in Sancheti anesthesia department. We're starting with a series of podcasts, which is interdepartmental, and this is the first podcast between the pediatric orthopedics and anesthesia department. Dr. Sanika represents the pediatric department, and Dr. Pooja will represent anesthesia department. Looking for your feedbacks on this particular podcast. Thank you very much.
Hello, you are welcome to the Pediatric Regional Anesthesia podcast. I'm Dr. Pooja, Academy of Regional Anesthesia, fellow working with Dr. Sandeep Devansar, Sancheti Hospital, Pune. We have a fantastic topic to talk about, and I have a great cast to talk about Pediatric Regional Anesthesia, Dr. Sanika, Pediatric Orthopedic Fellow, working with Dr. Sandeep Patwardhan sir, Sancheti Hospital, Pune. How are you doing, Dr. Sanika? I'm doing great. How are you? I'm good. So you have chosen a pediatric orthopedics. What is your motive behind becoming a pediatric orthopod? So pediatric orthopedics has always been a very rewarding field for me, I think. It allows me to make a difference in children's quality of life, especially with conditions that affect mobility and their independence. And watching the children recover and thrive and knowing that I had a part or a role in it is deeply fulfilling. Yes. So, as a regional anesthetist, we have challenges in pediatric regional anesthesia. What are the biggest challenges you faces in pediatric surgery? So, there's a common misconception among people that, children are just small adults. But I think you would agree with me when I say that is not the case. So their bones are still growing, their tissues, respond differently to injury and to healing. And one of the biggest challenges I feel is communicating with the children and their families can be really, really challenging, especially when the parents are really anxious, because all parents are, and complex cases which involve syndromic children. But I think there's a fine, delicate balance, and then one has to gradually learn it. Yes, so the pediatric patients are not the miniature of the adults, yeah, right. So most of the pediatric patients receive general anesthesia, so that is quite common. General anesthesia includes intravenous cannulation under mask ventilation, followed by induction and intubation of trachea. Now we are giving blocks. So what is your thought about it? Yeah, I think using regional blocks in combination with general anesthesia is a great approach. But I think it can significantly reduce the amount of anesthetic that you guys have to give whenever you have to induce patients. Maybe they have some better post-op pain control and maybe improve recovery time as well. And more specifically, if I want to talk about something, the surgical site-specific blocks that you've started giving these days are proving to be really, really beneficial. Yeah. The Cordial blocks were the commonest and the only blocks done in the past with the landmark technique. Now, with evolution of pediatric regional anesthesia, we are doing it with ultrasound guidance. Also, apart from that, we are doing blocks like interfacial plane blocks for hip dysplasia. So, are you aware that recently blocks are surgical site specific? Where do you prefer these blocks? Yeah, so I have noticed a trend that you've been shifting towards more surgical site-specific blocks. I think it's a really great development. Site-specific blocks offer, targeted pain control, and maybe they have fewer systemic side effects. So the dose of analgesics that we do have to give in the post-operative period maybe has reduced a bit. But in certain surgeries like upper limb procedures where, we use long arm casts, and the kids are really young, detecting compartment syndrome can be really tricky for us. So we have to be very careful while monitoring these kids post-operatively. Overall, I think site-specific regional blocks are great. Yes. So as you have a pediatric orthopedic department, yeah, we do. So do you think I should do a pediatric? Yeah, of course. Why not? I think it's a great option you could explore after this. Yes. So instead of pediatric anesthetist, how would you feel about two anesthetists? So, while non-pediatric anesthesiologists can be skilled, the senior ones, but I think there is definitely an advantage when I know that the anesthetist is trained in pediatric anesthesia. But I think you are better equipped to answer this question. But I think children do have smaller airways, they have higher metabolic rates, they have really immature organ systems. So this all will influence how the kids are going to respond to the anesthesia. And especially when it comes to syndromic kids or kids who are really young, maybe less than 4 years, maybe other non-pediatric anesthesiologists, maybe if they are 2 in number, maybe more set of hands will be more beneficial.
Yes. So how do you feel about the blogs? You think they are useful or not so? And how do you think we can improve the general pediatric patient's care from the anesthesia perspective?
Yeah, I think blocks are really useful when they come when it comes to reducing, post-operative pain and the need for systemic pain medications. Children, need lesser medicines. They sleep better, they eat better, and they are more compliant with rehab, which translates into faster recovery. But I think there's always room for improvement in communication and coordination between you, us, and the pediatricians as well. And maybe research into newer regional blocks might be helpful.
Yes. So basically, we both of us want a happy child.
Yeah.
You feel a post-op pain-free patient is in a better emotional and psychological environment and recovers faster, right? So we are working as a team. We are going in a correct
direction. Yeah.
Another challenge for a pediatric patient is bleed by mouth. Do you think pre and post NBM time should be reduced? What is your personal experiences?
Yeah, actually, prolonged fasting can increase anxiety and apprehension and discomfort in children, sometimes even for adults. But, allowing clear fluids closer to surgery time can, significantly improve the overall experience that the child and the family faces.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think we should, establish that.
So, do you think that we should induce the patient in recovery?
So I think I want your perspective on this and your opinion. Like, what do you feel?
Okay. So I personally feel comfortable and safe to induce patient in operating room. If I induce patient in recovery, then we can reduce the time between induction and handover to surgeon. We should avoid the wastage of anesthetic agents and its adverse effect on growing children.
Yeah.
So we can prefer to induce patient in
recovery as well. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So Dr. Pooja, I have a question for you. Why do you give blocks like preoperatively? What is your opinion about post-operative blocks?
Okay. So in today's era, we are more worried about the neuropaptosis of the growing children because of this general anesthetic agents. So we are giving blocks as per the requirement of the surgery. So we can, if we are using these site-specific blocks, we can reduce the usage of general anesthetic agent and deep anesthesia. Considering high-risk cases which are being done in our center as a referral center, what is your opinion about these cases?
Oh, yeah. So the success of these high-risk cases that we generally do here can be, attributed to a lot of factors, including our advanced infrastructure, the state-of-art technology, the seamless communication between the highly skilled teams of surgeons, anesthetists, and pediatricians. I think additionally, we have really well-established protocols for patient safety, efficient perioperative management, and the availability of, multidisciplinary expertise, that enables us to have really great outcomes, even when it comes to complex, challenging, and high-risk patients. Yeah, I think that's why.
So one last question then. Are you happy with our pediatric regional anesthesia practice?
Yeah, I think we have a really solid practice in place. But I think there's always room for improvement, especially in terms of keeping up with the latest advancements and in regional blocks and in striving towards an overall experience being less stressful for the children and their families. So Dr. Pooja, can you enlighten us about some of the advancements in the world of regional anesthesia that are there?
Our understanding of systemic and local anesthetic management has definitely improved. Our dosages are calculated. We are giving it in allogots. And we are having better equipments for airway and monitoring high-resolution ultrasound machines.
Hence, it is possible to avoid deep anesthesia and artificial airways, cardiorespiratory complications with evolution of regional anesthesia. Now we are looking at patient with more holistic approach, not just looking at blocks by giving blocks, but also looking at airway and monitoring the patient. And also we are training our ears to the beep sound of the pulse oximeter.
So you have adopted a more holistic approach towards overall care of all the pediatric patients in our hospital. So that's really great.
Yes. So I really appreciate you for joining me. Thank you so much for your insight towards regional anesthesia and pediatric patients.
I had a lovely time with you discussing about all the new advancements in the world of your regional anesthesia. And I think it would be beneficial to have, similar podcasts with people from other departments in our hospital. I think that would be a very stimulating conversation.
Yeah.